I didn't think, I say this every episode, but I didn't think that you could take something as beautiful as Robert Jordan's story and turn it into what they've done. After episode 5, episode 6, episode 7, and now 8, there is absolutely no point in warning people about spoilers. Here we go. Episode 8 dumps us back where they should have started 3,000 years ago. I've got to tell you, I don't know what the hell they're doing. This looks like some type of talk show you'd see in a current Scandinavian country talking about socio-political issues. And wow, I don't know if they're trying to go meta with just how bad the green screen is in this whole scene in this room, but it is not quality. Honestly, I had to look at the X-ray stuff on the left side of the screen to figure out that's that's Lews Therin, everybody. That's the guy in the bad Battlestar Galactica dress uniform. Now, if you've read the books, none of this will make any sense to you either. Why do the writers, the creatives, Rafe Judkins, seem to fall back on this soap opera level conflict to somehow, I guess, move the story along? This is supposed to be the pinnacle of civilization, of advancement, and we're having a conversation about feelings in bad CGI green screen with not very good community theater acting. Why? This is what you do when you don't have talent. You try and tell. You don't show. You don't have opulence. I've said it before, and so have so many other reviewers of this show. Where the hell did all the money go? Ask yourself, what is the difference between the team leading Witcher 2, what we saw on screen visually, and what we've seen through 8 episodes of Amazon's Wheel of Time? If you would have told me, let's say a year ago, when they announced that Amazon was going to do Wheel of Time, and that when they showed that opening scene of Lews Therin and what happened and the corruption of the power and what it did to the magnificence that is described within the eye of the world, that I would be watching. God, this is like Days of Our Lives soap opera CW trash with forced representation and absolutely no freaking indication that this is Lews Therin in what was an opulent past. This sucks on a whole other level. We've crossed over the place of incompetence a long time ago and went into negligence. Now we're just into irredeemable, you have committed a mortal sin territory from the creative team at Amazon Prime. I'm not sure that there is profanity adequate enough to describe what is on screen. One thing I personally am absolutely sure of is that this creative team, and I mentioned it in my episode 7 review, I think they reached a point where they knew they were hosed. And they literally had no money and no talent to represent key events in this book. And so they decided to hit the rock bottom, go for broke, and then blame the fans when they rejected it later. And there it is, the money shot from the beautiful, highly technologically advanced past, and also highly magically advanced past. This is a mediocre homage to a lot of the art that occurred on book covers from other people representing things within the Wheel of Time book series. It just looks cheap, muted, and underwhelming. The feel from the very beginning of this air quotes adaptation was this was presented as a very small world. If I was supposed to be wowed by the scene of the futuristic city with flying vehicles and ornate buildings, that homage to art that some of us who are readers of the books, we can sort of see, it was absolutely underwhelming. After watching Rafe Lee Judkins' name multiple times on the credits, we are dumped into the Blight. Now, all of this is, of course, wrong. In those books, which again, nobody who wrote this show actually read, There, of course, was absolutely no freaking reason at all why anyone couldn't go to the Eye of the World. What the show did in episode 7 was make up more pointless busywork bullshit. No, in the books, it was Moiraine, Lan, Rand, Egwene, Nynaeve, Perrin, and Mat, as well as Loyal, who all went through the blight. I'm still trying to wrap my head around here is this show, saying that they're going to the Eye of the World to confront the Dark One. I don't have words. In the books, they're going to investigate. That's it. They're going to see what is going on at the Eye of the World. Of course, they're also going to talk to the guards who are present there. Now, when it is the Emmonsfield Five, including Lan and Moiraine and Loyal, they don't just walk into this wall of dead, ugly, spooky stuff. It is a gradual process by which the landscape, as they progress, starts to show profound signs of the creep of the blight. Now, obviously, that's where having Loyal in the party was incredibly important and impactful, where him seeing all of the horrible death and mutilation and the profane things being done to nature deeply affected him as an Ogier. What do they do in the show? Well, they take elements from the Halo video game. God. Only without the green radioactive mushroom glow, and put it on what appear to be guards that they stumble across in this incredibly stupid story. No, I was wrong. This was yet another opportunity to have Moiraine talk shit about men when she says that, no, that's just a boy from the borderland. You know, those stupid boys, who's trying to test his courage and, of course, was taught a proper lesson in the intersectional feminist entertainment style. They never stop with the messaging, do they? This is just agenda wrapped around an absolutely unrecognizable adaptation. Honestly, in episode 8, I can't be sure of this, but Rosamund Pike looks exhausted and like she does not want to be there. And not as an actress. I'm talking about as an actor going, this is my opinion, but she looks like she realizes this was absolutely the wrong thing to get involved in, not just as a member of the cast, but as a producer. I could be wrong. That's just an opinion. Blah, blah, blah. They're in the blight. Oh, and then we're back to Falon. And someone in the comments section on my episode review pointed this out, that the structure of the walls, the architecture of them is indicative of a star fortress, which would have had fixed cannon or artillery pieces in those sort of V bend outs from the walls. This is arguably a type of fortress you would have seen in the 1700s, maybe the early 1800s. How and why they chose this architecture style, we will never know. But once again, this city was in the mountains, on a hillside, in an area that received a lot of snow, which had a lot of A-frame houses to keep all of that tremendous snowfall off of it, not in a desert, not in a race-cycled mommy movie set. And then we've got Egwene having a tearful young adult soap opera drama moment with Perrin. They just can't decide what to make Perrin. You know, they had him bitching at Rand in the last episode about how he doesn't treat Egwene right. And now someone took his balls and put him back in the box that it was in for 6.5 episodes. And he's like, we can't go and follow Moiraine. I love him, Perrin. This is not from the books. Egwene and Rand were not together. They had a childhood little thing that was there. But very early in the Eye of the World, Rand and Egwene have a conversation about that they're not together, that given the way the world is worked out, there's absolutely nothing between them. They're certainly not married. They're certainly not adults that are married. And this is the point in the show, every episode, where I go, I really am baffled at how much energy it took to create absolute trash dialogue without any real plot, using characters who were never really developed in a story that bears no resemblance to the source material and seems to rely heavily on tropes from terrible TV shows that are canceled very quickly, meaning stuff like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why did Rafe do any of this at all? This is going to be taught someday in a graduate level class on how not to adapt a fantasy work of fiction. I swear to God, the decisions they've made here, by any stretch of the imagination, are not defensible, and the end product, if you took them out of the costumes they're in and put them in modern clothes, these are the same conversations that you would find in a crappy CW network television show no one would be watching. That dumps us back with Rand and Moiraine, for some reason, taking a break in the Blight and seeing the 7 towers of Malkir. There's more. There's more talking about feelings in the Blight. Oh my God, and talking about more feelings, we have Nynaeve looking wistfully at Lan. There are so many things wrong in the show now, and I talked about it in episode 7. It's really hard to do these touchbacks to the books and talk about them without this turning into 4 hours. Obviously, Lan and Nynaeve are not where they are supposed to be. In the Blight, in his own homeland, there is no freaking way Lan would not be with Moiraine right now. That's the whole point of being a warder, are situations like this. Of course, magical bullshit bestest ever race Skywalker Nynaeve. Not only is she all of those things plus the world's best healer and a mystery child of complete fabrication by Rafe Judkins, also knows Moiraine leaves a certain trace when she passes, and she's gonna teach Lan. You know, the campaigner who's been out there in the world for decades, knows a thing or two, master swordsman, arguably a ranger on par with Aragorn from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. No, a girl from a small remote village knows more than Lan does. That's called an intersectional feminism insert. And Lan says what we were all thinking. You are a remarkable woman, Nynaeve. And following along that same, oh God, I want to scream. It is Nynaeve who tells Lan that they could never wed because a wisdom in Rafe Judkins' adaptation can't get married. God. Of course, Lan is all heartbroken because Nynaeve wears the pants in this relationship, and he tells her how wonderful she is, and that he would happily be a cuck. As long as she's happy, that's all that matters. If anyone doubted what this show has done from an agenda standpoint, this moment stands out among so many episodes as being absolutely disgusting in the way that they took Robert Jordan's story and made it this. And to wrap up that abomination, she tells Lan how to track Lan's own Aes Sedai, who he is bonded to and has traveled with for decades. Why, you may ask? Because Rafe Judkins' shitty story needs him to. And there it is. Rand has a dream. I was really hopeful because Moiraine got a sword right through the back of the head that came right out of her mouth, and I was like, holy cow, could this actually be something where Rafe Judkins would actually do something way beyond? No, I was wrong. He's a talentless hack, and this show is dog shit. And of course, when you portray the big bad of the show from Robert Jordan's books, the Dark One himself, what you want to do is use a duct-taped hockey mask with some Christmas LED lights stuck in the eye sockets to convey just how big and bad he really is. It is truly... Where did all the money go? It is... I'm just shocked. I mean, what the hell am I watching? Lan shoots an arrow in Hockey Mask Guy's face, and then they blow some money on CGI to have it get all squishy, and then we get a human face. Ishmael is a very nice guy, it would seem. Very kind, very proper. The dialogue that occurs within this dream is... I need a pocket thesaurus. It's an abomination. It's truly horrifying. The liberties that Rafe Judkins took with this. They have the Dark One touch Rand. I mean, they're just having a normal conversation. They're having they're having yet another talk about feelings in hallways, only it's in the shitty version of the blight. This becomes a rambling exposition dump of random facts jammed in from the book series, with a couple liberties taken to update it to, I guess, make it more accessible. They have the Dark One say every turning has its little surprises, I suppose. God! This is not... Oh, God. You know what I'm going to say? This is... the show. And shockingly, well, I guess not shockingly, they have Rand kill himself. Rand takes the really poor depiction of the heron-marked blade and commits seppuku, which is, in my opinion, as a book reader, and a lot of people may not agree with me, would mean that in this state, where they are, Rand, in my mind, in my opinion, would be dead in the real world. That may not be a popular opinion, but that is how I read the books. Now, regardless of whether or not you agree with that, Rand would have never done that. Blah, blah, blah. Moiraine wants to know about the dream, and Moiraine gives Rand, here in the Blight, at this place in the narrative, the Angreal, so that he can channel the one power and then eventually destroy the Dark One. Of course, you know, Rand doesn't know how to channel, but Moiraine, Rafe Judkins, you hack. Moiraine tells him that when his life is in danger, the one power will be there for him. Blah, blah, blah. Who needs character development? Who needs backstory? Who needs to follow the books? No, we're just going to have magical bullshit Moiraine tell everything. And of course, Rand has no idea what the hell he's supposed to do with this. Kind of something they omitted because, again, they jumped probably 4 books ahead of where they should be. And Rand has absolutely no character development. He hasn't been taught the forms. He hasn't been taught how to use a sword. He hasn't started to channel. He hasn't failed in channeling. He hasn't had tremendous things happen to him. We haven't seen him be affected by the taint of the male side of the one true source. There's none of that. So why this is even happening now, it is indefensible. And then we get a little scene where Rand confronts, and I use that word very liberally, Moiraine. God. And because Moiraine was teaching Egwene how to channel, and Rand's upset because he didn't get to meet the Amerlin seat, and how Moiraine thought it was Egwene that was the Dragon Reborn, and Does anybody out there at all, does anybody out there believe what we've gotten from Rafe Judkins? All of this is so wrong and so not the story. We then get a scene of magical bullshit Nineveh with magical bullshit Egwene listening to the wind. And then Egwene can hear something coming. And apparently this is going to be a lot of Trollocs attacking. Does anybody care? I mean, is anyone invested in the characters that Rafe Judkins created? And I'm not trying to be a dick. I could give a shit less about any of these characters. I have been given no reason to care about them at all. And that brings us back to the complete and utter mischaracterization of Min. Min in the books, she was in Baileron. She was a tomboy, good with knives. How this show has mischaracterized her ability to see things. She saw a halo with certain people. She could tell if they were bound for some type of a death or greatness. She didn't have this magical bullshit thing that Rafe Judkins invented for this horrible show. Egwene, Perrin, Nynaeve, in that abomination of a characterization of Loyal Old to the bar where Min is working. And there's a terrible scene where Loyal sits down at the bar, and I can't help but see him as some type of post-apocalyptic version of Burger King. It's just so horrible what they've done to Loyal. I'm going to give credit where credit was due. The Burger King reference came from one of my live streams, and I don't remember the person's name. If you're on another one of my live streams, I will shout you out there. Just remind me. And while they're all there, Min... I hate the show. Min gets a vision of Nynaeve suffering, and a bunch of the soldiers in the bar dying, and you can hear horns blasting. And so, yeah, why not? Why not, Rafe? Sure. We jump back to the not blight with Rand and Moiraine, who see the fighting Uruk-hai come running. Nope, sorry, wrong. The Dark Ones, Trollocs, who apparently are going to attack Far Dallin. That is all I can take for episode 8. I will drop episode 8 part 2 in a couple of days. It is very difficult to watch this show. Even removed from the Wheel of Time books, this is a terrible show. There has been no character development for anyone out there. We get one sentence backstory references, and apparently that's like the post-it note, that's the hello my name is tag that these characters are wearing through 7 episodes, yet we have no reason to care about them. We've seen no acts of kindness or generosity or heroism or sacrifice or even something resembling a character arc to show that they are evolving, that they are growing toward a challenge. These are the same characters that were misrepresented in episode 1, who just magically are able to do things and survive things without any cost, without any lessons learned. And when they do take little breaks, they have these bullshit dialogue sessions where exposition is dumped and they talk about feelings. Here we are, episode 8. Obviously, they're building towards something that is going to resemble the siege scene in The Two Towers by Peter Jackson. I have no doubt it will be underwhelming. But what is really important to know is that none of this is from the books, even close. The liberties that they've taken, it is maddening how much busy work, bullshit, bad storytelling they fabricated instead of just going with what would have been an incredible adaptation if they would have remained faithful. I feel like I have to apologize when I make these reviews because I sound so negative and pissed off, but it's really hard to watch this show and not feel negative and pissed off. Now, I will drop my episode 8 part 2 review along with my episode 7 part 2 review. Thanks to the holidays, things have been all jumbled. I promise you this will not happen again. It's just kind of how things are going. We will be doing a live stream, OBG70 and I, on episode 8. I will announce that on the channel. If I haven't already done so, a belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. As ever, this is Salty Texas C. I want to thank everyone again for helping me surpass 1,000 subscribers. This show would not be possible without your engagement, your subscriptions, your comments, your joining us on live streams. This is all about you, each one of you, listening, watching, commenting, and participating. Thank you very much for your support. I am Corey DB. You have an awesome rest of the week.